Hello, John McConan here. I'm an attorney and a real estate broker. We've closed over 100 short sales because I have a website, upsidedownrealestate.com, that was once featured in Yahoo Money and other national sites. I've had the privilege of working with hundreds and hundreds of people in their loan workout strategies, and I've negotiated a large percentage. Well, I wouldn't say less than 50% of those. I've actually done the bank negotiating after they present them with a strategy, but we've done a lot of work in this area. Today, we're going to talk to you about two things that I think are important in this market. One, I think you now need more than ever to pre-position for your loan workouts, particularly if you're looking at a short sale. It's always been important if you're looking at a walk-away or strategic default. And with loan mods being very, very difficult to achieve, these are combination of these strategies equals a short pay. It's always that's ridiculous. It's now more important than ever to make sure you know what you're doing before you begin. And the second part that I'm going to talk about is selecting your advisor, because this is critical. We're just seeing so much realtor hype on the internet, especially about the new 580E CCP 580E law, which yes does work. It makes some short sales go easier. It's spread it out instead of negotiations in the middle, getting you what you need. It's sort of a binary thing. It's either accepted or not now, because the banks, it's been taken out of the bank's hands, the negotiation, or even the tricking the realtor part of the negotiations, where the banks used to release the deficiency. No, they used to release the lien, but not the remaining loan balance. They were doing a two-step short sale, which is something we're now suggesting, but from the opposite end. They used to, especially seconds, would agree to the short sale, get the $3,000 to $5,000 from the first, and then reserve the right in writing, and sometimes just leave it ambiguous. Agree to the short sale, let it close, and then they would frequently start trying to collect on that remaining loan balance on the second. Now they don't have that option anymore. The law says they're supposed to release the remaining loan balance. They're supposed to not ask the seller to make a contribution, but in many ways they are. Even the major banks, Wells Fargo's done this a few times since this law. They're asking money to come from the seller, but they're doing it indirect ways. Now, since they're releasing the deficiency, they're really sometimes hammering on big numbers for the second, which either causes the seller to pay more than, in my experience, on average, they used to have to pay. Or they're, and then again, it's a question of whether they should be paying. It's a question of whether it's a violation of the law, or it's causing the short sale to end, and either a foreclosure if there was time, or if your clients prepared themselves ahead of time and had backup plans, it creates the need for a new strategy, which might be short payoff, then short sale. So this realtor hype about the law not being needed, here, let me go back to this. The realtors out there that are getting the job done, maybe have done 50 short sales, and are really looking out for the client's interest, are almost always bringing a lawyer in with them. And sometimes it's not a California lawyer, but at least they're trying to inform their clients. But really, if you're working with a successful realtor, he's making money. I mean, we're making money more than we ever have doing short sales. They're hard work, and each short sale, we're making less than we used to. But there's only so many people doing it, and it's now done more by business. The old friendly neighborhood expert is really disappeared. They've become dinosaurs. It's now, who are the business people that can get the job done, and you're seeing more work going to a more professional business like Core, who actually has a team, because there's no way you're calling the bank twice a day on a few files. You have to have a bunch of files so that it makes sense to call the bank all the time, because that's part of what it takes to get a short sale done. But within those teams, there's a couple of good realtors that I know that are looking out for their clients' interests, and there's other ones that will just hype the heck out of whatever they're doing and really not, I believe, serving their clients' best interests. In fact, there's one guy who goes around saying, who was going around before 580, he was going around saying he got his clients, he said he was the #1 realtor in Southern California. He was getting his clients released from the deficiency on every single short sale. And I had enough people calling me up that I had to get involved, because he was sort of calling out the fact that you don't need a lawyer, and he's here, lawyers scaring people. And I went over to his website with YouTube, with this video camera, and I started going through his approval letters, showing that a pretty good percentage of the time, the bank's actually reserving the right to go after people for the remaining loan balance. And a very large percent of the time, leaving it blank. And, you can see on YouTube, only a small percentage of the files was there a release of lien and a release of the remaining loan balance. And then on other parts of his website, he's telling you don't need a lawyer because it was happening. I believe it's been a few months. I believe he was saying it happened automatically. Whatever it was, I highlight it very clearly and show you this is not the law, and that's what's happening. And those people, if they're talking about getting, if they're hyping you on those things, the realtors are out there hyping, and you can figure out what hyping really means, just to get your listings. And here's the issue. NAR says 75% of realtor negotiated short sales fail. So what happens when you're 2 or 3 weeks before foreclosure, which is the way the banks frequently like it, because it takes them that long to get serious about your file, or maybe you get, the first one takes 3 or 4 months, and for most people, most realtors, then the buyer walks and they got to find an now there, and then it takes them, and they put you right up against this deadline. They approve it, the buyer walks, or they approve it on terms that are unacceptable to the seller, and now you've got a choice. Lousy workout with the bank or foreclosure. And that shouldn't happen. It doesn't need to happen for most people, especially people who care enough to protect their assets or their income. And it all comes from pre-positioning the short sale. In fact, if you give us enough time, we'll pre-position your assets. So we've worked with all the major banks. We know the questions they're going to ask. And it's like a deposition. You answer their questions, but you answer them truthfully. You volunteer no more information than necessary. So if you pre-position your assets and your income, you have a much higher likelihood of getting your short sale approved, and you're also not you're not giving a roadmap to your assets to the bank. So if the bank, and seconds are doing this, are not happy with the $3,000 to $5,000 from the first, and if they're asking for money that you can't afford to pay or don't want to pay, they're just turning down short sales now. This is a major change. I've even got a letter on my website from first. They're aware of it too. They're like, well, maybe you need to negotiate a short payoff with the second before you come back and try to do a short sale with us. So asset structuring, asset positioning, and getting leverage over the banks is now more important than ever. The good realtors have an attorney with them. The realtors that don't have a California licensed attorney are probably just hyping you. Now, I will make an exception. If your realtor's done 20 to 50 short sales and you've only got one loan and you're out of work and you don't have other houses, you don't have other assets, really, if you like the person and they've shown you that they've done a lot of good work, I think you should seriously consider them as your lawyer. But I'm talking 20 to 50 short sales. But if you've got assets, you've got a future, you've got securities licenses, or you work in Homeland Security, or you're even wanting to be able to reestablish your credit quickly and rebuild it, and you want to position your file ahead of time with a lawyer that can help you do it, you should seriously consider working with an experienced attorney and a realtor, or an experienced attorney who is a realtor. Thank you, Joe McConnell.